So I am here with 4 more women who are proud to be 31 leaders while working full-time jobs. Each of these women knows how to navigate a packed schedule and still find time not only to run a thriving business, but also to lead a growing team. So Brianna, let's start with you. Your story is a little different because yours is not a day job, right? It's a night job. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I work as a full-time nurse in the intensive care unit. My schedule is a little different than most, as I work straight night shift. My shifts run from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I also have a 45-minute commute before and after that, so my days are about 14 hours. I work about 3 to 5 days a week, and when I do sleep, because it's scarce, let me tell you, most days I sleep from about 9 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon, so I can get up and get my daughter off the bus.
And how do you make time for 31?
You definitely have to get creative. You have to use the most of your time. Most importantly, use every single minute of every single day. For example, at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm on break, you'll find me making graphics for my team, planning out my week to make sure that I have everything in line since I don't have much time. I make sure that I schedule all my posts. So a huge time saver for me is using Facebook Scheduler. I go on and I schedule all my posts in my VIP group a week ahead of time. I schedule all my parties ahead of time, and I schedule in my team page, so I don't have to worry about it later.
I love that. So you were super intentional. That's really what I heard from that. What are some of the things that you do that have the greatest impact on your business?
Because my schedule is different than most, I do have to do a lot of online parties. I do them in a group. And because time is a factor, I try and plan those parties in one evening so that I'm not dragging them out over days at a time. So I'll plan my parties in the evening during the week or in an afternoon on the weekend. And I go in that group and like I said before, I schedule everything ahead of time on my days off so that everything's ready to go. And then that way I'm more efficient because I thrive on efficiency.
I love that. So Becky, let's ask you a few questions. You have a unique story that I want to hear more about. I don't know that many 31 consultants who are also attorneys. So what does a typical work schedule look like for you?
Yeah, so normally I am in my office meeting with clients on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I'm usually there 9 to 5-ish, but there's some nights that I'm there until 8 or 9, depending on the week and what's going on. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I work from home doing paperwork, and I usually have at least one of my kids home with me too, those 2 days.
So I know that these 2 jobs aren't the only thing keeping you busy.
Yes, I do have 2 kids. My daughter's 5 and my son is 3, and I'm also 11 weeks pregnant.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So between your job, your family, how do you really squeeze in 31 so that it's impactful?
Yeah, so I primarily do my partying online since I don't have a lot of time to necessarily do home parties and that kind of stuff. I do my parties over a number of days as opposed to having a specific night or specific time that I need to be online and doing my posting so that I have my nights free for the family and everything. And I set up systems so that my business can kind of run automatically so I'm not having to reinvent the wheel every time I'm doing things. One thing that I use is an app called Project Broadcast, which is a text message scheduling app. And so I use that so that whenever somebody places an order, I have a message saved in there that's a thank you message, and it automatically sends out when I put in their phone number. When they respond back, I then send them a message inviting them to join my customer group on Facebook, because that's where you're going to continue to build your relationship with them. And then the same time, I will schedule a text message to go out about 3 weeks later that checks in with them, seeing if they got their order and that they're happy with everything. And that way I don't have to think about following up because it's already scheduled in there and I did it all in 5 minutes and I'm done.
I love that because you're not reinventing the wheel, you have a repeatable system. That is fantastic. saving time.
Yeah.
So how do you keep your funnel filled and get in front of new people?
Yeah, so I do get most of my bookings at the parties. So I'm trying to always keep my calendar full. I ask every single person at the party if they would like to have their own party. Even if they didn't place an order or anything, it does not mean they're not interested. It might have just been not in the budget for them at that point in time. So I'm trying to connect with every single person during the party so that I can ask them about hosting when the party's over. One thing with Facebook parties that does make it a little bit difficult is if you're not friends with the person and you send them a Facebook message, Facebook thinks that you are spamming them, and so they may not see the message. So one thing that I do in my parties is one of my posts, they can get extra party points for a prize by sending me a private message with their favorite emoji. And I tag all the guests in the first comment on the post, so hopefully they'll see it. And then that way, once they message me, I can then message them anytime I want to check in with them. And I know it's not going to be banned by Facebook.
I love that idea. Did you guys write that down? Who wrote that down? Okay, good. Love that. So Shallon, I know that you're also juggling quite a few different roles. You're a 31 leader, a full-time teacher, plus you and your husband flip houses, and you're also a mother of 2, including a newborn. So how do you do it all?
I'm going to go off script real quick. They'll probably never ask me to speak again because I'm going off script right away. But I just want to reiterate to everybody that every single one of you in this audience today, it doesn't matter if it's your first conference, your 5th conference, like all of you can do this, okay? I joined for $1 in 2016. I came to conference 2017. They rolled out Atlantis and I was like, oh, I'm going. We're going. I went. I walked the stage last year, and I just want to reiterate that every single one of you guys can do this. So for real, believe in yourself. But to answer Heidi's question, how do I do it all? I'll be real honest. Sometimes I don't know. I have an amazing husband who's here. I don't know where, but he spent his last weekend before a new job coming to conference to help take care of our 3-month-old because she is not a good baby. I needed all the help I could get. And you will hear about all these awesome systems, Project Broadcast, all these great things, and I should probably invest in some, but I'm that girl that I fly by the seat of my pants. Anybody else? And so that works for me, and I'm a firm believer in Philippians 4:6, where you don't worry about anything, you pray about everything, and I do. I pray for my business because that is huge. I also use every second of every day. As they've said, we all have 24 hours in a day. One of my co-teachers at work laughs that while she does a room check walking around, I've already sent 4 emails, taken attendance, and you just have to use all your time. I set a lot of reminders on my phone. My husband will vouch, my alarm goes off all the time and he hates it. But if I don't set an alarm, I'm not gonna remember. And I just want to share with you guys, you're gonna leave here with all these great ideas and you're gonna wanna try them all. But just do what works for you. Like, don't feel like my business is different than Becky's and Erin's. Like, do what works for you.
I love that. So what other areas of your business do you prioritize?
Party posts come first, and I'm that girl that sometimes the day of the party at 8 o'clock, I'm still working on posts that afternoon. But thanks to nursing, which is a full-time job, I sit a lot some days, and so I'm constantly scheduling posts. And I'm trying to be more intentional in those party posts and being more present in my parties, so that is huge for me. And sharing the opportunity. They did not prompt me to say this. I want to be in that lead pool every month, and so literally, if you look at my Facebook messages, I may ask 5 or 6 people a day. Like, I ask all the time, because it's huge for me.
I love that. Those are great tips. Let's see. Did you talk about that? Well, the people are lazy, right? Sometimes
Okay,
that's what
yes.
you
Some other areas. I'm super consistent in my VIP group, and like I'm strategic in when I post. I'm not that consultant that's going to post 10 times in the hour because I saw a new graphic. Like, be strategic. I have found that like lunchtime and then 5 to 9 p.m. work well to get the most hits. I use that Facebook scheduler app. I'm too tight to pay for SendShare anymore, so I just do it that way. I love going live. I love it. Like, my husband's always like, we did another video, and I'm like, yes. My 3-year-old loves it as well. And because of that consistency in my VIP, I have a strong customer base. I can usually roll out a $1,200 party a month because of my VIP girls, which is awesome. And then, like Heidi said, we kind of live in a lazy society, and so many people don't want to take the time to go to your website and find the item and add it and all that. So I do a lot of bulk orders, whether it's snackers or the changing pads for us mamas out there. People always want to use PayPal, so I'll just place the order for them, they PayPal me, and so that has really helped generate a lot of sales. And it's just giving them an extra peak love service, right? So we're supposed to do.
I love that, fantastic. So Erin, you have a little different story, right? For a little while, 31 was your full-time income. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So last year, I actually came to Columbus and found out I lost my job. That's gonna happen. As a single woman and a homeowner in New Jersey, it made me nervous. Where was my bills gonna get paid? Thank you. So I pushed more with 31. I took the opportunity to use that time to really work my business, party more, grow my team, share the opportunity with anyone and everyone, because I knew that that's how my bills were going to get paid. I had a great support system. Conference was an emotional roller coaster. Thank you, Lori. And my tribe leadership team up there. That kept me together. Yeah, it was a really crazy time, not knowing, and literally sitting in the convention center, the excitement of registration, opening up your packet, and having to call human resources to find out that you no longer had a steady income. So the weight of 31 really came to, this was how I was going to make sure my bills were paid.
I love what you shared with us, which was if you're going to lose your job, this is a good place to lose it with 10,000 of your best friends who are all supporting you, right?
Honestly, look around this room at the people you've met. Like Heidi said, if you lose your job, this is where you want it to happen. Because you have so many hugs and smiling faces, and hug time meant something totally different last year. And just knowing that the little things, when you needed to make sure your team was in the right spot, you could get your ribbons put together, all of those things could be accomplished by the support of the sisters around you.
Yeah, you guys, 31 is so much more than products. It's these people. It's amazing. The good news is you found a new job,
yes,
right? And can you tell us a little bit about how you fit 31 around that crazy schedule?
So I'm a school administrator in an urban middle school in New Jersey, and needless to say, my days can get completely crazy. So if I don't write something down, whether it's on a Post-it, in the notes in my phone, in my calendar in my phone, email myself, if I put something in my team page just so I don't forget I want to do something later, it's got to be someplace so it's written down. Kind of like goals, if you don't write them down, they're not meaningful. It's just a wish at that point. So I really find that writing something down concretely, that then later on at night I can get it into my calendar, get it in my planner, schedule it where it needs to happen and where it can fit in, is really important to making sure I accomplish all those little things that you have to do each day.
But you use washi tape, right? And you can move it around, so you're flexible. Something everyone value.
One thing I've definitely learned is that you have to give yourself grace. There's going to be days that 1,500 kids in an urban setting are going to exhaust you. And washi tape is the best thing for that, because you can change it to the next day if you need to. Friction pens, if you haven't bought some, grab yourself some. You can erase it and move it to the next day. Even though, and it's not that you're not doing it, it's just that you're putting it at another time that fits in your life. So accept that there's times that you can't do everything, but put it in a place where you can.
So what are some of the things you have found are most helpful for your growing business?
I'm a home party girl. Like I said before, I'm a single woman. There's no reason that I need to go out and have a party. So I prefer the home party still, even though I do the Facebook events also. But one of the things that I've learned is that if I don't have the parties in my books, open my door. Like I said, I'm a homeowner. I love to open my door and have people over at my house to entertain. In May, I was not happy with my sales, so I hosted a flamingo event and had ladies over. I did a brunch, a muffins and mimosas kind of theme. Whatever you could do that works for your business, you want to be creative. And what works for one person doesn't work for someone else. With a 3-month-old, you might not want to have your doors open and have, everybody popping in. I don't mind, I like it. I like to have people over and entertain.
I love that. Love that. So, one thing I hope you're wondering this, We haven't talked about this yet, is the why, right? We each need something that gives us a reason to be part of 31 and to really push ourselves. And in 31, we call that your why. So before we go, I'd love to hear each of you share a little bit about your why, and I'd love to start with you, Brianna.
Okay. So my why has changed a lot over the last 4 years. I will be blunt and honest and transparent. It was about the income. I wanted to make some extra money. I wanted to do some fun stuff with my family. It helped pay for my daughter's dance. We went to Disney last year. We bought a new furnace. So all like normal human life things. But last year, I realized that this wasn't just a job for me. This became a lifesaver. My husband lost his job unexpectedly last year. We were not ready for it. We had no idea it was coming. I didn't know how to prepare for it, and I honestly didn't know what we would have done if I didn't have this to fall back on. So this job, and all those ladies up there in the Canada section, they saved my life. Absolutely.
That's super inspiring. Becky, how about you?
Yeah, so when I initially joined 31, my son was just a few months old, and I joined for the discount. My house was a mess with 2 kids, and I needed to get better organized, and my sponsor said, why don't you just join, and then you can get a discount on things. So that's what I did. But then I had a launch party at my sponsor's urging, and I saw what 31 could really provide and do for us. Plus I'm a carrot chaser, so all those incentives in the beginning really got me, and it showed me what I could actually do with the business. Since then, my why has definitely changed with seeing the income potential with 31. We live in a super expensive area right outside Washington, D.C., and housing and everything is super expensive. So even though my husband and I both have good jobs, it's still hard with kids and everything else to have extra savings or to save up for a house. So my main why has been saving so that we can purchase a home in the next few years. But it's also become that emergency kind of savings fund as well. I was telling Heidi yesterday that my husband actually messaged me on Friday night asking if I could transfer some of my money from 31, because I have it in a separate savings account, so we don't really touch it, over to our credit card because we had to replace an air conditioning unit. And so I asked him how much, and he said, can you transfer $5,000? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And so it made me feel really good that I could do that and that I provided that. And the free trips and extra time with family is super awesome. I've been able to take my daughter to Disney twice and my whole family to Disney once. So it's just been awesome.
There you go, girl. It's awesome. Shalyn, how about you?
So my why has changed a bunch, like many others. It started out with $200 a month, and that quickly exceeded as I paid for our brand new privacy fence this spring, so that was exciting. Shortly after I joined, Team Shine up there, Team Shine, we did a big nationwide Easter basket drive, and it took off. And when I really think about who I am, giving back is what I love. Then I earned Atlantis and Maui, so who doesn't want a free trip? But also, when I really stop and think about it, I want my girls to see that I'm a hard worker and I'm going to go after things. And I want them to know what it looks like and feels like to bless other people. So to really answer the question, as I reflected on this big why, what drives me, what's in my heart, I just know that I can make such an impact on so many people through this side hustle.
Yes, absolutely. And
My why, obviously, like others, has changed. Last year, this time, it was to make sure my lights were kept on. This year, I've kind of shifted it, and it's really about being able to have the opportunity to get to meet new people. I love getting paid to party, so meeting new people is a great bonus for me. And the free trips are kind of nice too, I'm not gonna lie. But I think one of the biggest things is the friendships that I've made along the way. I would, in this room, know one person, hi Kelly, had it not been for 31. So the relationships that you can grow and the people that you meet, I love hearing the stories about girls that this is their first conference and they knew no one and they were in the airport, and this week with all the traveling issues that we had, you know, they needed a ride from the airport to their hotel or just someone to hang out with in the airport for hours as their flight got delayed. And there's just that bond that like nothing else that I've ever experienced at 31 allows us all.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You are all so inspiring. I love hearing people's lives. These ladies on stage with me right now are living proof that you can have it all. You can be a mom, a wife, a nurse, an attorney, a teacher, administrator, and still run a thriving business. And on top of that, lead a growing team. But it all starts with a strong why and an unwavering commitment to your dreams that only you can decide. So let's give it up one more time for Brianna, Becky, Shalon, and Erin.